Well, as the weekend come to a close, but we do not end things right there. But for today, we got some two reviews from you guys. So if you guys are big fans of the Japanese wrestling scene, you're in luck. You guys are in the right channel, and this is the episode you definitely want to see. Stardom, as you know, once again returned to Korakuen Hall, and the main event features the high-speed title. Mysterio defends her championship against Xena. As you know, she called her shot recently, and we'll see how that goes. Will Mysterio once again regain her belt, or will Cena's, of course, path of rising up will make her the new champion? Well, we just have to wait and see. Now, New Japan Pro Wrestling started the road to destruction. A lot of things are happening. This one features a lot of good matches, and of course, our main event is none other than the New Japan World Television title. Jeff Cobb defends his belt against Yota Tsuji, and we'll explain a little more about why this match was taking place. And then, of course, we end this episode with a very short news updates for all of you to tell you guys what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling, if anything needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, do the United Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions are set aside, full speed ahead. So let's begin with our very first review, Stardom. Okay, Stardom. They just recently had their much recent event in Korakuen Hall. I have to say it was very interesting opener. Now, I did mention recently that they had the 5-star Grand Prix awards, fighting spirit, most achievement, and skilled, which is something. And some of the wrestlers actually walked away with double awards, because the other 4 awards were best matches from the respective blocks, and that sort of. Kamitani actually spoke about she didn't give a damn about the trophy. All she gave a damn about was winning the red belt. That's always been her priority since she came back, and now that things are looking better for herself, now that she joined 8, well, we'll just have to wait and see when that day happens. Now, our opening match, we have Rian versus Starlight Kid. Now remember, 6 months ago, Rian actually faced Starlight Kid. She was the one who requested her to be her debut opponent. She said that she always looked at her as an idol, and her idol, and all this other stuff. Now, we know that Rianne mentioned that there was a specific unit she has been considering joining. Now, she never mentioned which one. Now, I would have assumed, because, just to be fair, because the match ended with Starlight Kid winning, which was obvious, um, we would have assumed that Rianne made her choice. But however, I think she already is considering it, but she wants to do it when it's the right timing for her. So she did state it that she has a specific unit in mind, but she hasn't specified which one. Now, I know many people are considering possibly Neogenesis. I mean, I have to agree that maybe that seems like it. Even Starlight Kid herself is curious about it. I think she's kind of curious to find out, okay, Rihanna, what's your decision? Which is the unit you're going to be? And I can't wait to hear it. Now, if she chooses Neogenesis, that would be a good thing for Starlight Kid, because she'll have someone kind of like what we're seeing with Tam and Kurata, because they have like a somewhat of a mother and daughter type of relationship. I mean, Starlight Kid could do the same thing to Rihanna, but we'll see. Now, our next match, we have Hate, consistent of Ruka and Rina, taking on the Sakurada. Of course, the combination of Sayaka Kurara and Aya Sakura. This was a very impressive match, because many people would assume, okay, Hate with their usual tactics, cheating, cutting corners, was going to be the one thing that's going to allow them to win. No. Apparently, there was a miscue coming from, of course, from Ruka when she used her box onto Rina. And then, of course, Kurara speared her down, and then Sakura actually pinned her 1, 2, 3, and that was the biggest upset ever. And the fans were so happy to hear that somebody finally shut this brat up, and that's exactly what happened. So Sakura, as you know, she has never challenged the future belt before, so now she issued a challenge, and Rina accepted it. Now remember, most of the wrestlers we have seen the rookies have challenged Rian, and they were unable to do so. Even the most experienced rookies like Hina and Hanako are the most. Well, Hanako's like about maybe over and a half, about maybe half a year of experience or so. But yes, so we could eventually see that. But however, we will see what happens. Now, our next match, we have a three-way: Rana Yagami versus Saya Ida versus the returning Mina Shirakawa. Of course, Mina Shirakawa is the fan favorite in this match, but I can tell you this match ended with Mina Shirakawa applying the glamorous driver onto Yagami and winning the match. And then, of course, Mina does a promo and all this. So, people are happy to see her back, but we'll see what happens until then with her. Now, our next match, we have Neogenesis, consisting of Miyu Amasaki, Azumi, and Zuzu Suzuki. They take on Stars, consistent of Momo Kogo, Koguma, and Mayu Iwatani. Now, of course, this was going to be a little different, but we cannot forget, once again, Koguma tried to do the bear dance with Amasaki, which Amasaki had no wanted part, but she decided to do so. But it was, of course, Zuzu Suzuki that picked up the win for her team, and she applied the tequila shot on Momokogo, giving them the win. So Neogenesis brought up another win. So that would make 2 for 2 for Neogenesis, and Starlight Kid won her match. Our next match, we have an 8-woman tag match. We have Hate, consistent of Sayaka Mitani, Konami, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora, taking on God's Eyes, Lady C, Hina, Saki Kashima, and Shuri. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of variables of this match. Now, don't forget, Kamitani eventually was the supposed leader of Queen's Quest, and of course, 2 former members of Queen's Quest are on the opposite side to each other. So I think there's a lot of, I don't know if you could call it unresolved issues from that point. That's something I can't say, but at the same time, you look at Shuri, who's looking at Konami, the person she trusted, who stabbed her in the back, and of course Kashima, she's all business when it comes to Hate. She has no time to joke around. But of course, Lady C had to confront uh, Sayakami Tani, and she's starting to see the kind of person she is. But however, Konami was the one who walked away with the win when she gave her a knee strike, and just like that. But you can tell that the reignition between the feud between Shuri and Konami is reigniting again. Hopefully, because last time this match ended with a disqualification, and that's not the result that Shuri wanted. Our next match, this is a #1 contenders match for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, or better known as the White Belt. Now, there's been 3 wrestlers who have their eyes set. Now, Natsupoi is sticking close an eye on this match. So we have Tekla versus Hanan versus Azuki. Now, it's no secret that Hanan and Azuki has challenged these Hanan has challenged for this belt before, but failed. But that was against Sayuri Inoue. Azuki has been longing for a title match like this, and then Tekla, as you know, her once relationship with Natsupoi is right there, so that kind of sets it up. But once again, in this match, because Hate are determined to prove once again that they are the dominant force, that they're the ones that run Stardom, they will stop at nothing to get every belt in their possession, and that includes the white belt. And they even use dirty tactics to ensure that Tekla wins this one. But unfortunately, it was not her. It was Azuki with the Magistral onto Hanan that picked up the win. And of course, this match is going to happen between Azuki and Natsupoi. Now, there are those that have recently been talking, of course, worried about this match because Natsupoi, who just got this belt recently, they cannot afford her to lose this belt again right away. But I'm sure there's going to be something towards it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, in my honest opinion, this match ends in a time limit draw. That's something that is a possibility, but we'll see. Alright. Our next match, we have EXV, the return Hanako, Waka Tsukiyama, and Maika. They take on the Cosmic Angels, consistent of Yuna Mizumori, Natsupoi, and Tam Nakano. Of course, we all know that Maika has issued a challenge to Tam Nakano for the red belt and all this and that. She has criticized the fact that Tam, who did not win the 5-star Grand Prix, got a title shot. She's feeling that, you know, all their matches she had were meaningless, but she doesn't think that she deserved it. But Hanako, as you know, has spent a month in the month of August learning some new techniques. She used a specific submission that was taught to her by someone who from the same Kyoto era, from Kyoto as well, and you guys know him too, Shinsuke Nakamura. Yes, I'm not joking, guys. She trained at that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym in her time when she was here in the States. So she used that on Yuna Mizumori. But however, the match continued on with, of course, Maika, who's determined to take that belt away from her. But however, Tam reminded her about something, and I think many people, this brought back to that whole thing with, of course, with Shingo Takagi. And I remember Will Ospreay had to relinquish the belt, and he considered himself as the real IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, while Shingo was the champion. And Okada considered Shingo as the interim champion. That was the whole point of it. So that kind of sets it up. And I think Tam is doing the same thing. She was viewing Maika. You were the interim champion. So that kind of put her in a very delicate position. So she came up with another thing. This match was not enough because she wants to build up momentum until their title match. So there's going to be a New Blood event, and she called out who's going to be her partner. She called out Rian. Now, Rian is not too big on EXV. If you guys notice, she's like, they're trying to treat her like she's one of them, but she never specified, as I said before, on record. She never specified who, but a part of me thinks she doesn't want nothing to do with EXV. I know some people who are here, I don't know if I have any subscribers who are EXV fans, or probably say she needs to join them, that she's a perfect fit, but she doesn't feel like that's for her. But there are those, a majority of people who I've been seeing, she thinks that she is perfect for Neo Genesis, but we'll get to that. But as for Tam, for the New Blood thing, she chose her daughter, Sayaka Kurara. So that's going to be an interesting match. So, however, I know Maika is going to help Rian to pick up the win. But I do have that distinct feeling that Kurara will learn a whole lot with Tam Nakano. Don't forget, she was inspired by her, and I'm sure she will learn very, very well. So we'll get to that. Now, on to our main event. We have, of course, the High Speed Championship. Xena versus Mei Seira. Now, this come around right after the 5-star Grand Prix, so she issued the challenge for this belt. Many of you would assume Xena, who's been killing it in Stardom, would eventually become the next champion. But unfortunately, Mei Seira was in fact able to overcome everything. And unfortunately, this match ended in a time limit draw. And of course, during the promo, Xena told her thank you and all this other stuff. So we don't know who's going to be the next challenger. I would have assumed that, okay, now that this match is over, someone's going to step up. But we'll see what happens until then. But for now, we'll just leave things as it is with Stardom and move on to our last and final review, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Road to Destruction. Now we are in day 2. Now day 1 happened untelevised. You know, it's like a house show in case anybody asks. But this is day 2, and this also was around the same time. And what's interesting, this show happened right after Stardom. Yeah, because if you guys noticed, the boss of New Japan was also in Stardom giving out the awards. So basically, he had to do his duty to help out with the awards, and then, of course, his duty as a wrestler and the president of New Japan. But we'll get to him a bit. Now, our opening match we have, of course, is the Young Lions. We have Daiki Nagai versus Masatora Yasuda. Now, don't know much about these guys, but normally when it comes to the Young Lions, either one of them win the match, or the match end in a time limit draw. That's always been the case, but however, the match ended in a 10-minute time limit draw. So we will see more of them. I know we will see more of them in every aspect, especially when they team up with their senpais, whoever is training them, and all this and that. Now, our next match, Tiger Mask teams up with the other much higher level Young Lions like Katsuya Murashima and Shoma Kato. They take on the United Empires. They have a new member, Jacob Austin Young, who I have seen on various occasions. He teams up with Cal Newman and Grado Khan. So nothing too significant about this match in any way possible. But however, it was Jay who actually picked up the win when he applied like a avalanche slice spread onto Kato, and just like that, he won. Next up, we have Yado teaming up with Shota Umino to take on the House of Torture, or should I say the House of Morons, Kanemaru and Narita. Now, of course, when it comes to the House of Torture, they're going to do dirty tactics, similar to what we've been seeing with Hate. Kanemaru used the whiskey onto Yado, and then of course, Narita with the push-up bar, that sort of thing, and that allowed for, of course, Narita apply submission on Yado and win the match. So, you know, nobody likes House of Torture. They are the worst faction ever. Someone needs to put them down. Now, our next match, we have Tomoaki Hamna. He teams up with Tomohiro Ishii. They take on the Mad Bastards, Gabe Kidd, and of course, what's his name, Jake Lee. Now, remember, these two guys are in fact aiming for the tag team titles, the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles. Currently, TMDK have in their possession. But however, they have to go through this. But it was Jake Lee with the spine buster on Hamna that allowed them to pick up the win. So, give me a second. Now we got the other members of the House of Torture: Sho, Dick Togo, Yujiro Takahashi, and Evil. Yeah, the House of Morons again, but this time they face Taguchi, who is impersonating Dick Togo. Then I thought, ooh, hilarious. They take on he teams up with the guy, our current never openweight 6-man tag team champions, Bolton Oleg, Toru Yano, and of course the boss himself, Tanahashi. Now, of course, the House of Torture are aiming for the never openweight titles, and Evil, being the scumbag of the earth that he is declaring himself the New Japan president. Well, we know that Tanahashi is the president, while Evil is the scumbag. But of course, they're going to use tactics to win their matches. I mean, we did see, of course, the screwdriver, but it failed. And then, of course, Yujiro used that bloody cane onto Taguchi's butthole and win the match. However, it's no secret they want these titles back, because they claim from the very beginning, since they won those belts before, when they lost it to Yano and Bolton Oleg and Tanahashi, they were declaring it was a fluke. Tanahashi is not giving them the satisfaction that they need, because he wants to put them in their place, but Evil, he's not having it. But I hope Tanahashi has a solution to deal with these pricks, and I think that's something we are expecting. Now, let's move on. Our next match, we have Bullet Club, consisting of Geto and Taiji Shimori, taking on just 5 guys, consistent of Taka Michinoku and Doiki. Now, we know that Ishimori has issued a challenge for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title against Doiki. Now, Taichi might think that Doiki, he's not going to last long, but of course Doiki is willing to defend his belt to show him that people have been wronged him all this time. But the real question is, can he pull it off? Because it was Ishimori with a crossface onto Taka that allowed him to pick up the win. So we'll see where that goes. Our next match we have is TMDKs. We got the Ichiban Sweet Boy, Kosei Fujita, and our G1 winner, Zack Sabre Jr., taking on LIJ's Bushi and Tetsuya Naito. Now, it's no secret that Zack Sabre Jr. and Naito have butted heads before, but this time it's for the bigger prize. Now, we know that Zack Sabre Jr. said he's not challenging him at Wrestle Kingdom. He wants to do it at King of Pro Wrestling, which is unusual, but, however, Naito has an opponent that he needs to deal with, and that is the Great Okan. But we'll see what happens. But it was, of course, Zack Sabre Jr. that picked up the win when he put Bushi in a submission, forcing him to tap out. Now, our next match, we have the other members of LIJ, Shingo Takagi and Hiromu Takahashi, taking on the United Empire's Francisco Akira and Hinare. Now remember, Hinare won the never openweight title from Shingo, but he was beside himself when he got pinned by Hiromu. Hiromu's goal is to win the never openweight championship. Now, Chris Carlton was right about one thing. We haven't had another winner of as a junior heavyweight to win this belt. And the only person who has done it, you guys know him too, Will Ospreay. So Hiromu could be the second guy that can pull it off. But of course, the United Empire will do whatever it takes to stop that in their tracks. But unfortunately, it was Shingo that put Akira in the Made in Japan, and just like that, it's over. But don't forget, Hiromu will get a shot of the never openweight championship, but we'll see what happens until then. Now, our main event, this is the New Japan World Television title, Yota Tsuji versus Jeff Cobb. Now, this came around after the G1. Jeff Cobb thinks that Yota Tsuji, he did the same thing what Finlay did to Tsuji, calling him that he wasted his time and opportunity, because people would claim, I should have been the one to win, but that's the thing. Yota Tsuji, I have to say, it's not his fault. Things did not go exactly like he would have hoped for, even though there's a lot of high praises coming to him. But Jeff Cobb decided to put the belt on the line. And I have to say, this was a total hoss fight if you don't see one. But unfortunately, there was no winner. So it ended up with a 15-minute time limit draw. And then when things were going well, another scumbag showed up from the House of Torture. And once again, that little creep, Narita, who's calling himself the next challenger. We know that House of Torture are determined to prove the world that they are the ones in control, not Tanahashi, calling Tanahashi and Hontai a bunch of liars and scumbags. But we'll see what happens, because the real scumbags are the House of Torture. But of course, Jeff Cobb gave Tsuji some respect, but we will see what happens. I'm sure Jeff Cobb is not going to let this one go with Narita, who in fact will determine to play dirty tactics on him. So the question is when and where. So we'll pay attention to that and move on to our last and final thing, news updates. Have a show coming up by the end of this month on the 29th of September. There's going to be a 2 out of 3 falls match. We have Ricky Knight Jr. versus Mike Lee. Now, those who know who Ricky Knight Jr. he is the nephew of Saraya and Zack Knight. So yeah, he's involved in this one. Now for our developments. Nikki Cross, as you know, there's been a lot of re-signings for WWE. Nikki Cross is one of those wrestlers that now has been confirmed that she has resigned with the company. As you know, she plays a crucial part in the Quiet Six. So looking forward to see what's going to happen after that. Stephanie Vaquer, as you know, we are waiting for her until she makes her arrival. She just posted that she's excited to have her match again with Guilia. Now remember, they did have a match together. This is when Guilia was still with Stardom, and she lost to New Japan Strong Women's title. So we could see that. So I could generally see if Roxanne Perez loses the belt to Guilia, then of course Stephanie will target her for that belt. That's something we could definitely see. Now some interesting news in the development section, or news updates. And this one's going to be a very interesting one. Dominick Mysterio's wife has been recently posting about accusing Liv Morgan and of course her now husband Dominic having a more than just a business relationship, as Rhea Ripley also left comments that surprised everyone. So I don't know, there could be trouble in paradise for Dominic back home. I mean, I guess some things never change. I mean, some things we know that when it comes to, okay, you're in a relationship with someone who's not in the wrestling business versus, okay, you're working with this female of a story angle, that can cause some complicated things, but hopefully some things can resolve, but hopefully Dominic can try to resolve it peacefully. So we'll see what happens. Now, many of you may have heard of what happened at All Out. Swerve Strickland, as you know, he eventually lost his match. But Wrestling Revolver revealed that Strickland is now taking some time off, and this is what Dave Meltzer said. I heard that a long time ago that Swerve was going to sign a contract and get time off, and this was the end. I mean, yes, we could eventually see things like that. I mean, if there was any cases of Swerve taking time off after a long, we know that he had a long journey to win the title and all this and that. So we could eventually see that's the case. So real question, we don't know. So we know he has a huge contract that he signed with AEW, but we'll see what happens. But for now, we're just leave things as it is and call it a day. Alright, so hope everybody enjoys the